everyone, Tina here. Welcome to Cardmaking Fundamentals and welcome to the Buzzworthy Blooms final classroom for the month. Today we're going to create with lesson kit number 4, and for this lesson we're going to need our color blending tools. We're going to need our brown ink, our orange ink, we're going to need our pink ink, and glue, of course, our tape runner. We're going to need our washi tape. We're going to need our 4 of our blooms, scissors. You're going to need your tweezers for this one, and then your pen, of course. And we are going to use our little wooden bubble bees for our card today. Let's kind of running out of room. Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, now for this classroom also we are going to need our little strips. We're going to create some more of our little flowers to go on our project today. Okay, let's put everything aside and start off by creating our little strips first, because we want those to dry. So we'll set everything aside, everything but our tweezers and our glue. And you guys know the drill from card number 1. Now, you could take the last of our zippering out, and then this is what you're going to leave. What it's going to leave you with is the negative piece. But these negative pieces you can use too. You just need to use your scissors and trim off, snip off one end, and then snip off the other end. Let me do a little snipping. Okay? Now we're going to do what we did in our very first lesson. Add a thin bead of glue along the bottom edge, and then using our tweezers we're going to pick it up, and then we're going to wrap it around. I didn't get a very good grip. I gotta squeeze it a little bit better. And then just start wrapping it around, guys. You don't want to go too tight or too loose, but just keep wrapping and wrapping. And once you get to the end, you can disconnect your tweezers. Just kind of squeeze them, pull them out, and then add a little dot of glue on the very end piece. And then wrap it along the edge and kind of hold it in place. And then our first flower center is good to go. Let me see. We'll do the same thing with our next one. Now this one you don't have a little end tab, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and add a thin bead of glue on the bottom of this one. Pick up the end with our tweezers. Kind of have to adjust it since it doesn't have an end tab. And then we're just going to keep wrapping. Doing the same thing that we did with our first little piece. Just keep wrapping it. You might have to adjust it a little bit. This one's a little bit trickier. Oops. This one came unwound, so I'm going to rewrap it. There we go. And when you get to the end, kind of remove your little tweezers and then roll that end to the very end piece. Hold it down. You may have to add a little more glue right here on that end flap to add a little more glue. And just hold it in place until it adheres. And then that one is good to go. We'll set that aside to let dry. If you want to flatten the bottom, you can by just pressing it on your work surface. And that one's good. This one actually was a little bit tighter rolled than this one, but that's okay. All flowers are different, right? While these dry, we're going to set these aside over here. We're going to open up our lesson kit number 4. I hope you guys are having a great day. The sun is shining and I am loving today. It's really chilly, but at least we have some sunshine. For a while there we had some dreary days, but I just like sunshine. Okay, let's take our largest piece of pattern paper and go ahead and adhere that to our card base. We're going to use, our tape runner for this. And you know what? I have glue on my hands. I'm going to grab a baby wipe and wipe off my hands real fast, because otherwise I'll be sticking to everything during lesson number 4. Okay, better. Let's adhere our pattern paper to our card base, centering it. We do have a little bit of a white border. Lovely. Now we have our stripe paper. This is going to go in the center of our card base. Kind of got to push that along. Then after we have this adhered, we have these 2 pieces. Let's flip over our thinner strip, add some adhesive behind it, and then this is going to go down the middle of our striped piece of paper. Oops. Down the middle of our striped piece of paper. And then we're going to adhere this about 1/4 of an inch from our right edge on our black and white striped paper. Let's adhere that. Scoot it over a little bit. That adhesive is pretty gummy stuff. Okay, looks good. I didn't have to trim much off. And then now we have some flower stems. And then we have 2 of these little pieces where we're going to stamp our sentiment. Let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to need our acrylic block and our stamp set. And let's make a birthday card. So we're going to take the happiest birthday wishes. We'll put that on our acrylic block. And for this, we're going to use our brown ink. And you may have to rough up your stamp a little bit. And I gave you an extra one in case we mess up. So we just need 1. We'll ink this up with our brown ink and stamp this right in the center. Stamped beautifully. And I'm kind of doing it opposite. Grab my baby wipe. And then we're going to go ahead and take our dotted detail. And we're going to stamp this with our pink ink. Let's put this back. Stamp this right in the center. Ooh, I got lucky. I did good. Oh, but I stamped the wrong one. You want to stamp your dotted detail with your happiest birthday wishes. So let's try this again. There we go. Ooh, stamped it good too. Let's go ahead and wipe off our dotted detail little square and put our stamp back. And then they're good to go. Okay, let's take our flowers. We need our little daisies. We need 4 of them. So let's grab 4. And then it should leave us 1 left over. And then you have some of those extra flower centers too. If you want to use that, you can make it another flower. But I'm going to start by adding a foam square to the center of 2 of these. Okay, and then with the other two that don't have the foam squares, we're going to use our little blending tools. Use our pink and our orange. Grab our orange ink and add a little bit of color to our daisy once more. Kind of spread out that color. And we'll do the same thing with our pink ink. Lovely. We'll go ahead and put this back. And then we can go ahead and add, we'll remove the release paper off of our foam squares. And let's add our daisy to the top of our flowers. Remember, you want to offset it when we layer. Makes your flower more full. And we'll do the same thing with our pink one. And that's good to go. Whoops. Now we have our little leaves on a stem. We're going to take our darkest leaf, make sure your leaf is facing the left, and we're going to use glue for this because we have an awful thin stem. Add a little glue to the leaf, and then we're going to add a thin bead along the stem. This flower is going to go, you know, the spacing we have here, about the same spacing on this side. And it's going to overhang in that pattern paper. I think that's good. So about 1/4 of an inch from that black and white stripe paper. And then with this leaf, you want to make sure that this leaf is facing the opposite way, the right side. And we're going to flip it around and add some glue behind here. And I'm not going to add any glue behind this leaf. We're going to trim down a foam square. And let's add a little dimension with this leaf. So we'll just remove the release paper. And then this one, we're going to lower it. And add our stem and our leaf basically between this stem and then this pattern paper right down the middle. So we have a little dimension with that popped up. We're going to use scissors and trim off the excess that's overhanging. Lovely. Okay, now we're going to use our glue, add a little bit behind our flower, and then take our pink one and add this to the top of this stem. We'll add glue behind our orange flower and add this above our lighter green stem. After we have this done, we're going to go ahead and add a pretty good sized dot of glue. I learned that from our lesson number 1. Pretty good size dollop of glue. And then we're going to add our flower centers. If you want to pick them up with your tweezers and add them, you can. Just put those in the center. Kind of press down so they grab. It does take a little bit of time to dry. Not too bulky. It looks good. Now we have some foam tape left over. We're going to take the last 2 pieces. I have half of a foam square and then a full one. We're just going to put that behind our little sentiment. We're going to remove the release paper off of here. Oops. And then this is going to go overhanging, just a little bit slightly overhanging over here. Happiest birthday wishes. We have our wooden bumblebees. Let's grab 2 of these. And I'll just remove the release paper off of one. And then this one, I want kind of facing over here. And then our second one, I want to put on our darker green leaf for here, kind of facing the opposite way. Let's bring it down a little bit. Okay, now let's take a piece of washi tape. We're going to take about maybe a 1.5 inch strip and tear it, and I'm going to just add a piece of washi tape over those stems, just for a little extra interest. And then we'll take our little white, our black, white, oh my goodness, we're gonna take, next we're gonna take our black gel pen, and we're gonna create some buzz lines. Let's do that. Now you can do dashes, or you could do a full line, whatever you prefer, but we're going to do a little swirly. And I'm thinking dash lines, I was thinking are a little bit more difficult to do. So let's just do swirlies. Let's do a loopy and a loopy, just kind of swirling like this. And we'll do the same thing on this end, kind of adding some buzz lines. I think dash lines would be a little bit difficult, but the little buzzies are really cute. And that finishes, pretty quick card, guys, but this finishes off lesson number 4. I love those little flowers and the stems and the bumblebees, and it's not too bulky. We have a few little supplies left over. Of course, you have your tweezers. You may have some tape runner left if it's working. You have another flower and some stems left over. You also have your stamp set. Let's put that back, which is really nice for future projects. And then we have a heart paper clip, and then you have lots of sentiments left over, guys, from your sentiment strips, and these are great for all occasions. And then your envelopes, of course, are here, but you get a few in your washi tape, a few take-home goodies with this classroom. But thanks for joining me for lesson number 4 of the Buzzworthy Blooms Classroom. I hope you enjoyed all 4 projects today. Actually, let's take a look at all 4 projects that we've created with this classroom. This is lesson number 1. Okay, we have lesson number 2 out of the package. Lesson number 2. Lesson number 3 and lesson number 4. Some fun cards. I'd love to hear which one was your favorite. But I thank you for joining me for this classroom. Have a wonderful day. We will see you on the 1st of the month for a brand new classroom. I'm excited to share that classroom with you. But in the meantime,